Today's a very, very good day because I finally found something that I've been looking for a very long time. I've been on the hunt for an antique mirror and I finally stumbled across one that is perfect. If you've ever been looking for something and you couldn't find it, and the moment you stop looking, you find it, let me know that experience in the comments down below. What you were looking for, what you found, and how it made you feel, because that feeling is unmatched. Today we're going to be restoring this antique mirror that I found. It needs some sanding, it needs some staining, it needs some TLC. We're gonna go assess the damage, figure out what needs to be done, and then give it a new home on this wall next to the lamp that I made. It's gonna be the perfect little cozy corner. So let's go check it out. Okay, I'm just gonna sit here on the floor. This is the mirror. It's beautiful, okay? So I really love the shape of it. I love the size. I feel like it's the perfect size for that space. I really like that it's simple in its design. You know, it has some curves, that has a few little soft angles. It also just has this little bullseye here, which I think is so cute, but it does need some work. So you'll notice this lovely area here. What it looks like happened is they hot glued like fake moss on just this section, not the whole thing, just right here. That's probably the first thing we'll do, is just remove the moss and kind of assess what we need to do with the frame. Anyways, that's her. She's beautiful and I'm so excited to get started. Are you gonna help me with this? Do you have what it takes? Do you want to help me? There really is like no easy way to film any of this. So I am literally just on the floor in my apartment and I don't have any special tools to remove moss off of a frame. So I just have this putty knife that I'm gonna try and use. I also have this little like mini screwdriver, flathead screwdriver. The main goal is to remove the moss without damaging the frame. So I'm just gonna get started and see what happens, I guess. I don't know. The name of the game here is to not scratch the wood. For that reason, I started using my fingers to get as much off as I could without using tools. Luckily, I was able to get a lot off just picking it off, and luckily the glue came up pretty easily. I did end up using my flathead screwdriver for pieces just to wedge under the glue, as well as the putty knife. After I got all of the moss off, I really wanted to check to see if sandpaper would be sufficient in removing the stain, otherwise I'd have to use a chemical stripper. Okay, so I tested some sandpaper. This is just a 60 grit, and the stain came up really easily. So I have two different trains of thought. One being, I take off the stain in this section that needs to be redone. There's also a section over here that's kind of discolored that I could also restain. The problem with that train of thought is that matching stain is really difficult, and if this side is even just a little bit different than this side, it's going to look terrible. So that's why I'm kind of leaning towards sanding the whole frame and restaining it and finding a color that's as close to this as I can get. I think that's what I'm going to do. It makes me really sad because I really like the shade of stain, but we'll just find something really close. I'll take a picture, go to the hardware store, and we'll pick something out. So I'm gonna take the mirror outside, sand it down, get it all ready to stain, and go from there. So, okay, let's do it. I started off with a 60 grit sandpaper and worked my way down to a 220 grit, which is a really fine grit sandpaper, all to prep for staining. Also, before you even touch the wood with stain, make sure and dust off your wood completely with a lint-free cloth and remove all of the dust from your sanding. Never skip this step. I linked my favorite lint-free cloth in the description box below. Feel free to check it out. Okay, so I just finished sanding the frame of the mirror. The next step is to stain. And before I stain, because this is pine, especially because this is pine wood, we're going to do a precondition or a pre-stain, which is just gonna fill in those pores on the wood to make sure when I apply the stain, it's a really smooth finish. We'll probably top it off with like a polyurethane coating, which I'll walk you through how to do all of that. Okay, let's keep going. An important step here is to protect the mirror. I'm using newspaper, but you could also use cardboard or poster paper or some similar material. I'm using painter's tape around the edge to make sure my product, whether it's stain or polyacrylic, doesn't get through and seep onto the mirror. That's definitely something we want to avoid, so 100% recommend painter's tape. We're ready to pre-stain. I'm just going to show you the products I'm using really quick. I'll also link them in the description box below. The first thing we're going to do is a pre-stain. I really like this Minwax one. It just really works well. It dries fast. So we're going to start with that. And then we're going to do our stain. I like using Bear. Bear is a great wood stain. This is water-based. And this is the color Jacobine. So that's the stain we're going to do after we precondition. And we'll top it all with a poly coat, which I'll show you how to do all of that. So I'm going to start with this, and we will go from there. Using the 2 extra cans that I'm not using at the time, I'm propping the mirror up off the table to give myself the range on the edges of the mirror without making a mess on the drop cloth. The first coat is the precondition. Using a foam brush, I put a generous amount of pre-stain on the mirror frame and wiped off the excess with a lint-free cloth. After that coat dries, because the water-based conditioner caused the wood fibers to swell slightly, I lightly sanded to smooth out the raised grain. And now, it is time for the stain. Using another lint-free cloth, I applied the stain in thick layers because I wanted a really deep color. As a rule of thumb, more layers equals a deeper tone. Remember to wipe away excess as you go, kind of like the Karate Kid, wax on, wax off, except it's stain, to ensure an even layer of stain. Make sure to let each coat dry thoroughly before applying another coat. The final step is the polyacrylic top coat. This was definitely the most time-consuming part. I did 3 layers total because I wanted a very smooth finish. Each coat needs 2 hours to dry with a quick sanding with 220 grit sandpaper between each coat. Again, be sure to wipe away any excess before it dries for a super smooth finish. At this point, after all of this work, I honestly thought I was in the home stretch, thinking I was ready to go hang this thing on the wall. But after closer inspection, I realized there was more that needed to be done. Okay, I'm gonna show you the dark side of DIY. There's the mirror, and the back is currently off because I'm disassembling it. It just was not looking right. There was a gap between the frame and the mirror that was very evident after I stained it. It wasn't as evident before because I just don't think I looked closely enough. So I'm disassembling it, and I'm going to separate the frame from the mirror and maybe check out the gap, maybe sand that down, restain it so it's the same color as the frame on the outside, if that makes sense. So this is how DIYs go. They're not the picture perfect process every time that you see in social media. So I'm showing you what is really happening, and I will keep you updated as I go. Okay, the disassembly is complete. Here we have the frame, the mirror is propped up over there, and then there's the back of the whole thing. So what I was trying to explain earlier is that the gap between the frame and the mirror allowed for the back of the frame to be reflected in the mirror. So you could see this lighter color on the edges of the mirror, and it just didn't look good. So I decided to just take apart the whole thing. I'm gonna sand this down, stain this part, just this little lip, and then I'll pop the mirror back in, put the back on, and then it should be good. A little bit of an extra step here, but it is going to be worth it. I will spare you the agony of watching me do that whole process all over again and give you the 5-second version. Sand, precondition, sand, 3 coats of stain, 3 coats of poly, and we're done. We are back to working inside. We're to the point where we're gonna put the mirror back in, the back on, and just finish up. So when I disassembled the mirror, there were a lot of little, almost like shims in between the frame and the mirror, just to kind of wedge it in place. And then there was a little nail holding these little bits of wood in place. So I'm going to see if I can fit them back in. The reason I'm not using any type of adhesive or glue is that I don't want it to seep in front of the mirror and obscure the view, or just seeing glue around the perimeter of the mirror is not a good look. So I'm gonna see if I can recreate how it was previously assembled, and fingers crossed. think I have them in the right position, so I'm just gonna finish putting the tiny little nails into these little pieces of wood. Let me just show you how small these are. Very, very small. I was successful in fitting and nailing in the shims, but then I discovered another opportunity. The joints on the frame were a little bit loose and needed some reinforcing. I used wood glue and my favorite wood clamps to reinforce the joints. After the glue was dry, you guessed it, I discovered another opportunity. The back of the mirror had a few minor spots of desilvering, where the backing of the mirror had eroded. Rather than replace the mirror entirely, you can actually use a bit of aluminum foil to mask the desilvering. While it doesn't fix the issue, it does mask it, especially when the spots are so tiny. I would not recommend this if you have a relatively new mirror, but because this is an antique, I would rather repurpose the existing mirror than replace the entire thing or spend the money on having it resilvered. After all of that, I was finally able to put the back on and nail it in place with the same nails it had come with. It's done. Here we are on the floor again. Before we hang this beautiful mirror on the wall, I'd want to do a quick recap of everything we've been through with this mirror. I first got it and I thought it was going to be a relatively easy transformation with sanding the frame and then restaining it. What it turned out being was completely different. I did do that work. I sanded it, I restained it, and it turned out I needed to completely disassemble the mirror, redo the frame, and then reassemble the mirror. And within there were a lot of twists and turns with, you know, reinforcing the joints with some wood glue and waiting on that glue to dry and making sure it was stable and supportive for the mirror to go back in. A lot of love went into this project. The reason I bring that up is because I think this is a great example of what happens with a lot of DIYs that you don't see on the internet. I think social media is a really great way to hide imperfections, and that happens with so many projects. You'll see someone post an experience with their DIY, and what they don't show you are all of the hurdles and the obstacles that they had to overcome to get to the end result. All of that to say, next time you see a DIY, just appreciate how much work and time went into that DIY, whether it's a full home renovation or just a simple mirror that someone found and wanted to restore. Some people hide it, some people show it. I'm definitely going to show it because it's the honest look at what actually happens during a DIY process, and I want you guys to be prepared if you tackle a DIY project that it doesn't go smoothly. So I want to show you the full picture. But now that we made it here, after so many obstacles that we overcame, let's go hang this mirror on the wall. All right, so we're getting ready to hang the mirror on the wall, but before we do that, I want to share a confession. Sometimes plans change. The plan that's changing this time around is where I'm putting the mirror. Initially, my thought was to hang the mirror on this wall next to my lamp, but in playing around with configuration, I was thinking maybe, just maybe, we should hang the mirror above the fireplace on the mantle. I think it could look really good. So I'm gonna play around. I'll show you what it looks like before we make a final decision. But if we do that, then we can put this painting on the wall over here, and I think that could look just as good. I'm gonna play around with this and see if I like that, and if so, we'll go with it. I kind of like it. I'm definitely going to have to play with the configuration of everything else that's on the mantle. I'd have to balance it out because I just don't like we need to add something over here just to balance it out. I think I like it. I'm gonna do it. I'm calling an audible, and we're hanging the mirror over the fireplace. Okay. So it's meant to be hung off of one, but I'm actually gonna do two just to distribute the weight a little bit more and make sure that it stays up there. Let's talk about the screws and anchors that I'm using. One type that I rely on everywhere that I've lived thus far are called easy anchors, and I live in an apartment right now, and the last thing I want to do is like destroy the walls, so I want to rely on something that's not going to rip through the drywall, and I want it to be easy to install. The next thing I'm going to do is make sure I find the right area on the wall to hang. I'm going to measure, I'm going to make sure it's level because I am using two different points to hang it on, so I'm going to measure, make sure it all works out, and we will get this thing on the wall.
First, I had to find the center of the mantle. From there, I determined where I wanted the top of the mirror to be. Finding the distance from the wire to the top of the mirror told me how far the screws needed to be below the mark on the wall. Then I screwed the easy anchors into the wall, followed by the screws, leaving enough room at the end for the wire. I cleaned up the drywall dust and I was ready to hang the mirror. After a very long process, this antique mirror has found its resting place. Although it was not quite what I expected, I learned so much along the way. With a little bit of patience, determination, and a vision for what this mirror could be, I was able to completely restore this antique mirror and give it a new lease on life. Thank you for joining me on this journey, and I will see you next time.
Said that you've been hurt one too many times before. Ended up staring in the bathroom mirror, crying on your bedroom floor. Baby, you can take my word, you haven't gotta hurt no more. Things are about to get much better. I wanna make this forever. I wanna make this forever.
I think it turned out really good. What do you think?
Times before, going in circles.